Well, basically I had a few frustrations just with the idea of a painting being this thing within a frame stuck on the wall, so I really wanted to take it into a three-dimensional kinetic realm. I was just itching to know what it felt like to be inside a painting. I painted over the suit, peeled the paint off, and yeah, put it on, and it feels awesome. You can feel its qualities of warmth and flexibility and shelter. It almost feels like being covered in icing or something. It's just a really cool, unusual feeling. Do you want to do your buttons up?
Maybe I should do, I think I should do the buttons up. I mean, we have buttons. I just can't get over how protected I feel. And yet, you can't believe it's flexing as your arms move. Look at that. I don't mind the colour. The colour's all right.
Ah, suits you, man. Suits you.
You know what it is? It's the most tactile painting I've ever had experience with, no doubt.
Yeah, good.
Never worn a painting before. Thanks for the shirt.
No worries.
Well, at the moment, I've kind of gone down the track of looking for a cheap product that I can use, which is going to give me as much texture as I can possibly get. Essentially, they're made of the same thing as acrylic paint. This is my base, which represents the terra firma that we're standing on, you know?
Sure. While you can identify the toys, they're actually quite far from the original state.
Yeah, that's right. I really like the fact that they've got so much colour, they're really bright, and I don't want to lose that, I don't want to kill that. So I'm putting on transparent layers like bitumen, which I can manipulate as well.
It's very tar-like, isn't it?
Yeah. I quite like the irony. These pieces of plastic, they've come from fossilised forests, they're brought out of the earth, and then they're manufactured into toys. And now I'm putting them into my landscape. Eventually, they'll probably end up in the landfill as well. It's a funny thing, because I don't think I'm a pessimistic person. The human race isn't going to last forever, and what's the legacy that we're going to leave behind? We're certainly going to have left our mark on the planet, whether we're here or not. A lot of these plastic toys, they're designed to make a noise, and you can kind of hear them. If you give it a bit of a shake, you know, you can...
Somewhere in here, someone's still alive.
Yeah, that's right. It's got its own soundtrack.
That's a bit weird, really.
Throw a bit of tape on that end and just line that
crease up.
Yeah, yep. It runs down the middle. We'll just stretch it back across. The weight of the paint will push it down. These are my controls, my systems, which will go out of control shortly. I'm basically just starting off as symmetrical as possible. Soon nature will take over.
And this particular colour, what can you tell me about it?
It's got this nice sort of greeny tinge to it, kind of a dirty yellow. It reminds me of plastic raincoats or something.
And in terms of the weight, what are we looking at?
This one's 125 fluid ounces, approximately 4 litres. And this will gradually spread out, and I can retighten the plastic or let it go if I want to push a particular way.
You can see a few bubbles coming to the surface. Does the air just naturally release?
No, I'm actually going to get down there and pop some.
You've got to get rid of these by hand.
Sometimes they're just a bit reluctant. I can actually see catalytic starting to surface. And there'll be a few more that'll pop up in the next hour.
Ooh, so what happens now?
We just watch and wait.
So we're watching paint dry?
Yeah, okay. Pretty boring.
This is my Citroen BX, and it also doubles as a hothouse, a bit of a drying room for my paint objects during the day.
Fantastic. So what kind of things have you had drying in here?
Well, I made some acrylic paint skin records.
And these work?
Yeah. I just really wanted to know what paint would actually sound like. And then I thought I'd make myself a pair of gumboots.
This one looks like it's been worn.
Yeah, well, I sort of broke that in along the road.
There's stones in the sole.
Got about 1,500 metres out of them before they broke apart underneath my feet.
Oh, God.
I've got a set of skateboard wheels on the go at the moment, hoping to just ride until they blow apart underneath me.
Wow.
Did a pair of diving flippers that I'm hoping to test out in the ocean.
You gonna wear them in the sea?
Yeah, so hopefully they'll propel me forward underwater.
Okay. Is that real? I mean, I can't even tell anymore.
Well, no, it's not a paint effect. It's just inspirational, you know? It's just doing its thing.
It's come through for real, hasn't it? You know, it's rust doing what it does.
You know, if I could get my paintings to do this, I'd be a happy chap, you know?
You might have to move into another material.
Right.
It'll only take you 50 years per piece.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Plenty of time, you know?
Well, plenty of time.
All of these works are installation-based. I think about them in relation to each other, as well as the space that they're in. I'm working on a series of skins at the moment that are floor-based. Hopefully, by the time I finish, there'll be about 20 or 30 of those skins. What I'm doing here is using this like a movable drawing and arranging these skins in this space, really to work out how you'd negotiate it as a viewer. There'll be piles of skins in the centre, possibly some coming up the wall. It's quite interesting because what I start to do now is think about those relationships of colour, which is what a painter does inside a canvas, but I'm doing it inside a space. It's the beginning of an idea. As such, it's going to evolve a lot.
I think human beings are interested in painting. They're interested in representations of other people's view of the world and their outlook on it.
To talk about painting as being something that's no longer valid or no longer interesting is nonsense. There are so many artists who are inventive, that have ideas that always push boundaries. As long as that happens, there'll always be artwork in one form or another.
Well, I think the reason I make art, it just feels like the natural thing to do for me, and I just know it's what I've got inside me, and it's just how I need to communicate and express myself.
I don't consider myself to be a painter, I consider myself to be an artist. But at the moment, I'm using the medium of paint just to explore a few ideas as a transition, I guess. To be perfectly honest, I don't really know how this is going to grow. I just have to immerse myself in it and see where it takes me.
I can't imagine not working with paint at the moment because it's all so much about paint. It's the critical element. It is about that physicality, that materiality. I can see a lot more potential to keep pushing this idea with the paint. I'm on a roll.
Yeah, well, I suppose I'm moving more into the kinetic testing ground. It's about taking these objects into a new type of grinding process and then exhibiting the broken remnants of that event. Each new work I do, I aim to test paint in a completely new way, just pushing it as far as it can go.